Why I am a passionate pluralist, Part 2. Why I am a passionate pluralist. This is a record of my very first public talk to members of Saffron Walden Quaker meeting on Sunday the 10th of February 2019. After about 20 minutes I completely forgot what else I should be saying, so quite abruptly I drew my talk to a conclusion and invited feedback. Over the next few days I edited the video record to insert all the bits that I'd either failed to explain well or completely missed out. I hope you'll find it interesting and you'll send me some more feedback, as that is the best way to learn. With all the additional bits, the video was now an hour long, rather than the half hour which the talk was initially intended to be, so I have divided it into 2 parts, and this is part 2. First, a short overlap. I pick up the talk at the point where I begin to share some personal experiences and then invite participants to reflect on their own. Now, I had various experiences growing up which shaped my relationship both with Christianity and with religion in the wider sense. And the first of these was that I was at a church school. We went to Radwinter Church of England Primary, and we used to go to the church and sit in the pews, and I wasn't used to pews and I wasn't used to churches, so I was always looking around and seeing all the interesting pictures and the nice carvings, and I got scolded endlessly for fidgeting. But then, I think I was probably 5 or 6, and our scripture teacher, who was the vicar, came in and he talked about baptism. He said, go home and ask your parents for some photos of your baptism and bring in some things. And I went home and I asked, and my mum said, we don't do baptism in Quakers because we believe that what your life is matters, not what you say. And I can't remember exactly how she explained it to a young girl, but I went to my next scripture lesson and I said, my mother doesn't believe in all that, we're Quakers. And he said that my parents were sinners, I wasn't a member of the family of God, and we would all go to hell. And I can remember the emotion at that time of looking at him and thinking, if anyone's going to hell, mate, it'll be you, not us. I was so angry, and I wouldn't go to church anymore. I refused to go to church. So I got to know the Catholics because they didn't go to church, and we used to have a bit of a fun time while everybody else was out at the church. I am a passionate pluralist. When I see that it is the diversity in nature which makes it so beautiful and fascinating, I feel my heart expand with love for God. If God is the creator and indweller, infinite, omnipresent and transcendent, beyond anything our small minds can grasp, then the idea that there can be only one way to be saved or to know him seems absurd. The next experience I had with religion was at secondary school, and a lot of the young people in my class were going off the idea of religion, and they said, why do you go to Quakers every week? Why do you believe in God? And I said, well, I go to Quakers because I like the peace and quiet. I like the crowd of people I'm with. I know them since I was little, and there's lots of interesting things to talk about and think about that's come up through the ministry. So it's giving my life some quality. And if God exists, fine. If he doesn't exist, I'm still getting some benefit. But what you find is, if you do have a strong faith, is you start to get experiences. The relationship is not just one way. And one of the first of these for me was Christmas Eve. My mum was hoovering in her bedroom. Everybody was in a bad mood. I thought it was all my fault. I was sulking in my bedroom. I was probably about 14 or 15. And I was just like not wanting to be there and thinking if I wasn't here it would be a lot better. And as I sat there, I started to get this sense that I was sitting on my mother's knee, and she would say, boy, look at me, look at me. And I, no. And in the end I had to turn around inwardly to look at my mother, who was God. And as soon as I turned round, I was just flooded with power, peace, blessings, and everything divine. And all the rubbish went out of the window. And I went running to my bedroom and gave my mum a hug and said I was sorry. And she gave me a hug and she was crying. And she said, I thought it was all my fault because I've been teaching and I've been busy with the play and different things and the house isn't ready for Christmas. And we both went running into the kitchen. Don't know if Rowan remembers. Told my dad and my sisters, and we put some music on and literally danced around the kitchen. And it took us from absolutely miserable to the whole family full of joy. And when you get experiences in your life which are powerful, they deepen your faith. Now here is your next activity. You could spend an hour or more, but I will give you just 7 minutes. First, you have 3 minutes in silence to think and reflect on your own life experiences. Think of occasions when someone behaved in a way which was negative, hostile, critical or harmful to your growing identity as a spiritual person. Then think of any experiences which you might describe as spiritual, transforming the way you are feeling and bringing you joy. Rudolf Otto studied such experiences. He called them experiences of the numinous. They are often so personal that we don't like to share them, but he found by far the majority of human beings do have numinous experiences. You may like to read up on this later. It's fascinating. I think some 80% of people of the thousands Otto questioned had personal experience of the numinous, although some of them tried to explain it away. My spiritual teacher encourages us to keep a special diary to record our inspiring experiences, not to share with others, but to read and remind ourselves when things are difficult. Recalling them will have the power to re-energize us and bring us back some of that joy. Now, after spending 3 minutes reflecting on your own experiences, both negative and positive, in relation to your own experience of spirituality, you will have 2 minutes each to share just something with your partner. I will tell you when the 3 minutes of reflection time is up and when you need to move on to the next speaker. So my pluralism began as a kind of intellectual connection with diversity and refusal to believe that if there is a God who's created it all, he's going to be picky about who he wants with him and he's going to damn people forever. But at that time, I'd never really met anyone else. I went to Northern Ireland in 1971, I think, and it was in the middle of the Troubles. I wanted to do farming. I wanted to stay. My dad was a farmer. I wanted to stay in farming, preferably dairying. So I found a farm. I was living with the farmer, and they were staunch Protestant. And I would have some wonderful debates with his wife, and we would discuss Bernadette Devlin, who was a leading Catholic politician who I liked at that time. And one day she said, well, there might be something in what you say, but at the end of the day, I could never trust a Catholic. And I was just shocked, because it's like, how do you just dump millions of people that you don't know? I didn't want local people to assume that I was taking sides in the political and religious divide, so I started to go to a different place of worship each week. The first time I went to worship with my Protestant farming family, I felt what I call the presence and peace of God in the worship. Although I missed the silence of Quaker worship, I came away with a similar sense of happiness and peace. The first time I went to worship in a Catholic church, I felt a bit scared, influenced by the fears of my dear friends at the farm. At first I felt uneasy with all the ritual, but as I settled and joined in, I felt what I call the presence of God in that worship too. I felt a similar sense of happiness and peace to the experience I knew in my Quaker worship, although I missed the silence. I felt a real sense of God's presence and peace wherever I went to worship. I discovered experientially that God is happy to be worshipped. Through all the various Christian denominations. Well, my reaction was to find a local Catholic school and join the guiders and start helping them with the girl guides, which didn't go very well with the family I was staying with, so I got my own accommodation as well. And one day we were driving into Belfast and following a jeep, an army jeep, and the back door was open and the soldier was sitting there with his gun across his knee, and one of the ladies in the front said, "Oh, he's handsome." And I realised I was knotted up with hate. And I was shocked to realise, why am I feeling hatred for someone I've never met or spoken to? And over the next few days, I reflected on it and I realised it's because the army terrified me. They were always stopping us. I used to cycle around. They would even jump out the bushes and grab my bike and throw me off it a couple of times. In the dark, suddenly all the lights would be on and they'd seize my bike. And I literally thought I was about to die, because all you can see is guns and skinheads holding them, because they're just young boys that have been taught to hold a gun, and you know if their finger slips, you're dead. And I had to kind of come to terms with the fact that I was scared. And why I was scared was why I had become starting to hate a group of people. So the next time I was hitchhiking near Enniskillen on the border, and I was with a driver and there was a random army stop. And he said, "Oh no," he said, "it's my brother's car. I don't even know the number plate. They'll take us to bits. We'll be here for hours." And we got out and it was raining. And I overrode the fear and the hate that I was feeling, my emotional feeling. I just overrode it. And I figured maybe they look so hostile because they're frightened of us. And they have no idea when someone's going to drop a bomb or open fire on them. And they're only little kids just out of school. And that's why they look so hostile. So I made myself be friendly. And I said, "God, what a day to be doing this. You must be looking forward to going home, you know." And I got chatting and they didn't stop being professional. They didn't stop searching us. But they melted. The atmosphere melted. They didn't take the car apart. They greeted us, we waved goodbye to each other, and the guy couldn't believe it. And he said, "It's a miracle. I've never known anything like that." And I thought it was a miracle, and it proves to me love conquers. And it was one step in my journey to discover that my Quakerism is true, and so is their Catholic. Love conquers all that is unlike God. It is indeed supreme over all. Do not try to change the world. You will fail. Try to love the world. Lo, the world is changed forever. These are 2 aphorisms by my spiritual teacher, Sri Chinmoy. And so is when I got to know my husband, his Hindu, and when I worshipped with him, our Sikh landlord, my Muslim best friend, I was finding God. And it was exciting because this spiritual side of things and this divinity is there. It is real and it is powerful. And we can use it to change our lives and change the world. And as soon as somebody tries to put a wall around here or a wall around there or narrow mental ideas, they're creating this divide and causing that kind of hatred. My life experience of worshipping with different people, at first with people who belonged to different Christian denominations and later with people from different world religions, has shown me that there are many different ways of approaching God and that they are all true. It's not how we worship that matters, but how sincerely we love God. It is not our intellectual fervour, but the heart power that deepens our relationship with Him. When I teach religious education, my pupils and students often want to know about me. What are your views, they sometimes ask. What religion are you, miss? Some educationalists believe we should teach from a neutral perspective, but I don't think such a perspective exists. Indeed, if we are not prepared to share something of what we believe and why, how can we hope to create the climate of trust and integrity required for our pupils to feel able to share their views? I tell them that I believe in every religion and I claim every religion as my own. One of the best questions I've ever been asked was, my dad says, are you every religion on the inside or the outside? I explain that I believe in every religion because I love God, and as I have studied the world religions, I have come to appreciate that they all began when God revealed new light, new insight to a particular community. Nobody sat down to invent a new religion, and I guess that even if they did, God being in all, would have quickly found a way to reveal new light in and through that person. If a religion is nourishing its members and bringing them inner wisdom, light, strength to deal with life's challenges, happiness and inner peace, it will thrive. If not, it will die out. I love God, and if all the religions spring from what I call God, then I must love them all and claim them all as my own. I see the great religions as complex manifestations of the force which is religion acting in our world today and shaping the lives of millions. Well understood, and this is where good religious education comes in, the great religions become a powerful force for wisdom and unity in diversity. Without understanding the powerful force of religion, so much part of each person's sense of who they are on both a personal and community level, is open to manipulation by those seeking power. They promote a narrow, exclusivist agenda to whip up fear and hatred, to divide and destroy. That is why good religious education and encouraging a pluralistic attitude is so important. Then the great religious communities become a powerful force for promoting the highest ideals of love, compassion, oneness, forgiveness, and peace. Different, belief, religion, and true. We are all unique human beings. Each one of us is different, and we live in a universe that is beautiful because of its diversity. Difference is something good, something to welcome, celebrate, and explore. If God is the name we use for the creator of the universe, the infinite creator and indweller who we approach in our worship, God must love diversity. The world of nature shows me that God loves diversity. My own logical mind argues that in the vast sweep of the centuries, a difference-loving God will not have only one right way for human beings to grow in relationship with him. This is the intellectual reason for my pluralism. When I think of what God means to me, it is an inner relationship with everything. I look outward and feel God in the colours of a sunset, in the smile of a flower, or in the eyes of a child. I feel God's peace in nature. When I meditate, I feel that I'm looking inward and deepening a relationship with what I know of myself and who I truly am. I seek to find God in the eyes of my own soul. In my meditation, I calm my mind and feel the presence of God deep within my heart. There is no gulf between God and my life. I feel his or her presence filling me with all the divine qualities that I and our world so urgently need. And aside from that is that when I'm not in my meditation, I am at the mercy of all the forces in the universe, just as anybody else. I don't always feel the presence of God in my ordinary life, but I do in my meditation. Being a passionate pluralist requires one to reflect upon concepts such as one's own beliefs and practice of religion. I believe that my own relationship with God needs to be active and that there is a purpose to life. I believe that being a truly good person is part of it, and all the religions offer a similar message. A good person feels a sense of love, compassion, and oneness towards other people and other creatures, towards all of nature. Each surah of the Quran begins with the Bismillah, in the name of God, the merciful, the compassionate. Central to both Judaism and Christianity is the great commandment to love God and love your neighbour as you love yourself. Buddhism calls for loving kindness, right thought, right action, right speech, and right concentration. Ahimsa, or harmlessness, is one of the guiding principles of Hinduism. You find this command to be loving and compassionate, not to harm others, in every religion. Of course, that doesn't mean to say that everybody who follows a religion actually lives by it, but it is there for anyone to see. The message is clear. My call to action, if I have one, is for everyone to stop and think and understand, what does this mean for you? In your own unique situation, how can you offer more time to your worship? Even adding just a few more minutes of devoted prayer and meditation each day will make a difference. Sri Ramakrishna was a Hindu sage who lived in the 19th century. He is very well documented. It was the time of the British Raj. Even they were interested in his life. Having realized God as a devotee of Mother Kali, he faithfully practiced the spiritual disciplines of different religions, both Islam and Christianity, and came to the same realization. He proved to himself, at least, by personal experience, that all of them are true and they all lead to the same goal. He was perhaps the champion of pluralists. Thus he declared, "As many faiths, so many paths. The paths vary, but the goal remains the same. Harmony of religions is not uniformity, it is unity in diversity. It is not a fusion of religions, but a fellowship of religions based on their common goal, communion with God." Sri Ramakrishna often used metaphors to illustrate his teaching. This is one of my favourite. God, he said, is like an infinite ocean. Intense cold freezes the water into ice, which floats on the ocean in blocks of various forms. Likewise, through the cooling influence of bhakti, or spiritual devotion, one sees forms of God in the ocean of the Absolute. These forms are meant for the bhaktas, the lovers of God. But when the sun of knowledge rises, the ice melts. It becomes the same water as it was before. Water above and water below, everywhere, nothing but water. But, you may say, that for certain devotees God assumes eternal forms. There are places in the ocean where the ice doesn't melt at all. It forms quartz. When we explore spiritual truths, there is no universal objective proof. It's a personal journey, and the proof for each person will be found in our own personal experience. My ideal is diversity, oneness in diversity, not for everyone to be the same. We all have our own experiences, so we will all have our own ways of understanding life. There will be countless different points of view. But that, in my view, is like the different colours in a rainbow. It is natural and it is beautiful. My own spiritual teacher, Sri Chinmoy, spoke and wrote about every aspect of the spiritual life. His writings are available free from an online library. I wanted to see what he said about pluralism, but I found nothing. When I searched instead using the word religion, there were hundreds of entries, and they all reflected a pluralistic attitude. Here is just one. Question: what is your religion? Sri Chinmoy: my religion is my constant, conscious and sleepless love of God. Our love of God is the living breath in us, and that is the one universal religion. A true religion wants only to love soulfully the heart of the world. A true religion will sympathize with other religions and experience its oneness with them by virtue of its tolerance, patience, kindness and forgiveness. So a true religion is one that down the sweep of the centuries will love humanity with all its imperfections. On the strength of its oneness love, it will try to bring about a new world, not by force, not by lording it over others, but by becoming inseparably one with all the religions. I am not the greatest expert or authority on the subject of religion, but there are people who do have true insight, and in all the religions you find such people say the same. God is one, truth is one, and all the religions are reaching out to that truth in their own unique way. There is only one God, and He is God to all. Therefore it is important that everyone is seen as equal before God. I've always said we should help a Hindu to become a better Hindu, a Muslim to become a better Muslim, a Catholic to become a better Catholic. That's a quote by Mother Teresa. We're going to do another exercise now, so you have time to think about this for yourself. You have just 3 minutes to reflect in silence on all that I've been saying. Just breathe gently and let all the ideas I've shared settle in your mind. Feel your own heart of love, like a flower bud opening and offering its fragrance to everyone in this room and beyond. Reflecting on why I'm a passionate pluralist, I recognise that there are 3 main reasons. Firstly, because I see the fact that diversity is a fundamental quality in every detail of the universe. This belief comes from an intellectual or scientific observation of the natural world. I see that difference is a reality. It's a truth that we can all see and appreciate. And as I call the source of all things God, then I believe that this diversity, this difference, is divine. It is intended, and it is beautiful and good. But that is not all. A second reason why I am a passionate pluralist is because of my own life experience. Even as a small child, I learned how a narrow, exclusivist view can create distress and anger. Then, as a young adult living in Ulster, I saw firsthand how narrow mental attitudes can create division, fear, and hatred. I also discovered that love is a power that can conquer fear and hatred and bring happiness and harmony. The religions are true. This was a significant experience, reminding me of the truth that there is more to life than physical reality, and confirming for me the importance of our inner spiritual lives. I learned experientially that an exclusivist attitude is harmful and also not true, because wherever I went to worship, I felt the loving presence and peace of God. I discovered, if you like, that God is happy to be worshipped in many different ways. The third reason why I'm a passionate pluralist is because over the years I've been blessed with personal experience in engaging with many of the great world religions and worshipping with their members. In every situation, once I've put aside my fears and prejudices and opened my heart to the worship, I've felt the presence and peace of God. I've had profound spiritual experiences worshipping with the Quaker family within which I grew up, with Catholics in Ulster, with my husband's Hinduism, our landlord's Sikhism, and worshipping with my dear Muslim friends. I've met spiritually advanced good people from all these traditions and more, people who are loving and compassionate, whose lives shine, showing me that their religion is nourishing them and enabling them to thrive and grow spiritually in an ever-deepening relationship with God. Their religion is true, just as I know my own to be. Now my marathon talk is approaching its conclusion, and often a talk like this will lead to a call to action. My talk is not an exception, but my call to action is not, see me at the end to buy one of my silk scarves or sign up for one of my meditative silk painting workshops, although I have some leaflets about them if you're interested. My call is simply, take your own spiritual life more seriously. Reflect on what I've shared with you. Put your hand in God's hand or breathe deeply the energy of the universe and let your life shine. More smiles, less fears, more love and forgiveness, less judgment and criticism. There is a purpose to life, and each one of us has a part to play. All the religions teach it. Atheists feel it too. This is not my discovery, it's the truth. We can become more loving and compassionate. We can embrace differences and work together in harmony. And if we do, then not just our own small lives, but the whole face and fate of the world will be transformed. And I would like to finish by reciting a poem which is composed by my spiritual teacher when he was about 12. This is the poem, The Absolute, that Sri Chinmoy composed in his early 20s to express something of the experience of God realization, also called self-realization. No mind, no form, I only exist. Now ceased all will and thought, the final end of nature's dance, I am it whom I have sought. A realm of bliss, bare, ultimate, beyond both knower and known, a rest immense I enjoy at last. I face the one alone. I have crossed the secret ways of life. I have become the goal. The truth, immutable, is revealed. I am the way, the God soul. My spirit aware of all the heights, I am mute in the core of the sun. I barter nothing with time and deeds. My cosmic play is done. I am a passionate pluralist. I believe that every religion offers its followers a true path to follow, and that every religion followed in a devoted way offers its members a deepening relationship with God. Sages and saints such as Sri Chinmoy prove the truth of their religion and their beliefs by personal experience. We can sense their achievement in their words, in what they say, and in the way that their lives shine. I know the second verse, I'll start with that. A realm of bliss, bare, ultimate, beyond both knower and known, a rest immense I enjoy at last. I face the one alone. I have crossed the secret ways of life. I have become the goal. The truth immutable is revealed. I am the way, the God's soul. My spirit aware of all the heights, I am mute in the core of the sun. I barter nothing with time or deeds. My cosmic play is done. Remember the first verse in a minute. So that's it, finish. That's the end of my first ever public speech. There should have been more, but my brain has completely frozen up. Thank goodness I survived this far. Now comes the most important part, feedback. What can I learn from it?
I was always told, tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them you told them.
Tell them what you are going to tell them, then tell them. Then tell them that you have told them. This is a quote from Adolf Hitler. He might not have been a very nice person and his message might have been a bit bad, but he certainly knew a bit about speech making.
Okay, and he was a good communicator. Had a few bad character traits, but he was very good at communications. I spent the first little while, because we didn't have an introduction to say what we were coming to, thinking, what world am I in? And it would have just helped me, I think, if you said, my name is, and today I'm speaking about, boom. I was thinking,
I actually thought I did, because I explained my name, and then I explained I'm going to be talking about pluralism and why I'm a passionate pluralist. And then I explained what pluralism was and what it wasn't. And then I explained how my initial ideas of pluralism were to do with diversity of the world. And my intellectual rejection of the idea that there could be only one way to a God who loves diversity and creates everything different.
No, that's all true. For some reason, I didn't
reinforce
hear
it.
I think it
stopped and reinforced it from time to time.
And I think there was just something about that initial 30 seconds, just creating the platform, and I wasn't sure when the platform was being created.
Feedback. Did anybody else have a problem to realise what I was talking about?
Yeah, I think maybe the idea is that the context was not defined very well, and it was between a lecture and then kind of a little bit of a workshop.
Yes,
a little bit of a classroom when you ask questions, but there's some answers, and there is. I think it could be, and I think it's great because we can obviously see that it's developing. But it could help a lot for you to define and find where you find more comfortable. What is the context? Is it a workshop?
To set the scene.
What is the setting for that? Because here, of course, it's a very friendly audience that's playing the game. It's very comfortable. But at one moment, if you're going to encounter an audience that is not that friendly or that,
that's right.
And I think that is going to help you be more confident into how the things are delivered and mastering the thing. And by doing that, automatically the people who come in from the very beginning, they're going to know
They're going to work.
what are they here for,
Yes.
what are they kind of expecting, even though there are many unknowns, but it's not during the speech that they're going to be learning what you're being, because you were saying all these things, and I think that's what Carl was saying, but that's during the speech, so it became clear, and as a matter of fact, as it started to roll, you started to feel more confident, and we also start to be more at ease of and hanging on into the story. But if from the very beginning, I mean, when we sit, we already know a little bit what we're expecting and what we're doing here. I think it helps.
Yes.
And after that, I mean, this is the kind of conversation like now I could have the whole Sunday afternoon enjoying talking about this. It's like, my goodness, this is what I would like, you know?
Thank you very much. Yeah, because I actually planned it in my notes that I have covered the introduction, I've covered the introduction to the topic. I didn't realise, because I've not done it before, how much you need to actually set that solidly in place and kind of maybe check, does everybody understand I'm here to talk about, what am I here to talk about? Why I'm a passionate pluralist. And that would be good. And yes, I am interactive and I do ask questions because I'm coming from a teaching background and I've been to so many lectures that have been so boring and you just get a sore backside from sitting a long time and a headache because they don't stop talking. So I like to try and break it up with activities, and I'm hoping to be able to make that really a feature of when you invite me, this is what you get. The first line of that verse was, no mind, no form, I only exist. Now ceased all will and thought. The final end of nature's dance, I am it whom I have sought. It's the experience of God realization is, it's in our hands through many sages. And in my view, one of the reasons why people panic and think it's got to be an exclusivist religion is because we've been given a timeline. Because there's plenty of things in the Bible which reflect a concept of reincarnation. But it's been completely leached out over the centuries. And I can't make sense of my own life without reincarnation. My father-in-law thinks I was a freedom fighter in Bengal and I was so prejudiced God made me be born British. But I used to think my family was from another planet until I met Indian culture, and then it was like, oh, it was me from somewhere else, not them. So yes, I think that, you know, if you've got a time scale of infinity, which reincarnation gives, and a goal of becoming perfect, which you need more than one lifetime for, you don't have that intense pressure that many fundamentalist Christians have of, if you don't do this now, you will burn. And again, the concept of hell becomes, if you don't change, you will continue suffering. You know, what else is eternal damnation but eternal suffering? Anyway, you now have to dance out. Because that was George Fox.
It was, yes.
It was George Fox after a fashion. Thank you for watching Why I Am a Passionate Pluralist. To offer your own feedback or to invite DurgaMata to speak to a group or at your event, please email maryfellows@durgamataoflondon.com.